Oh my word, Danno keeps leaking Toon Turf. Hi, my name's Extractor or King Boba Fett, and I make videos about stuff on YouTube. And today I'm going to be talking about Toon Turf. When Danno leaked these clips, I originally wasn't going to make a video on it, but then I started to connect a lot of dots. But first, let me tell you about these leaks. It's these two shorts that Danno uploaded right here that have the leaked clips. There's also this Twitter post, but I'll get to that later in the video. And we start with Why We Forget Our Dreams. We see Riggy holding a knife while purple fire is engulfing the town. This presumably being the prophecy. It's nothing crazy, we've seen this before, but it is interesting that the leaked clip in the History of Riggy video, Riggy's expression is more serious. But in this leak, Riggy seems happy, because this is a nightmare. I mean, that's what the short's about. Like it's his vision or something, it's not real. And it may imply that this clip, the one where Riggy is being more serious, might actually be the real thing. But that's just a little theory. In the second short, we see this little clip right here, of Riggy presumably getting to Toonville with his luggage in boxes. We also see Danno's setup and how he uses PowerPoint to create his characters, which is awesome, by the way. I use PowerPoint to make my thumbnails. But at the center, we see this image with either Ralph or Dolph. I can't tell the difference between the two. And we also see Ruby, who is Riggy's ex. Now, like I said, the leaks aren't that crazy. However, I start to connect a lot of stuff because I remembered what Danno said on the Rumble Pack podcast, the episode with Dacia, and also remembered that Danno himself leaked the first minute of Toon Turf's audio on the live stream. And I think I can predict a good chunk of the pilot episode. But before I get into that, if you're enjoying this video, then please consider subscribing. I'm less than 500 subs from 15,000 subscribers, and I believe we can hit it by the end of the month. But hey, only subscribe if you want it. Danno has been leaking quite a bit in the last month. And that got me thinking, why? Well, I remember what he said in the podcast episode about how he had the first 5 minutes of the pilot episode ready to show at VidCon, and then he would randomly show fans like 10 seconds of that 5-minute clip. And that's what I think we're seeing right now. He already showed bits and pieces of it, so might as well continue on his YouTube channel. After all, it's a great way to build hype for the series. But yeah, anyways, let's talk about the audio that Danno leaked a while ago. So in the audio, we hear Riggy in school with his teacher talking about stuff. But this scene also seems to keep switching over to a much darker scene, one where people are screaming for help.
And they always try to do the right thing.
And near the end of the audio, we hear this.
So what do you think, class? What kind of person will you grow up to be?
I want to be a hero.
That he wants to be a hero. And I honestly think that the clip we're seeing in this short is the clip that Danno keeps cutting between. We hear people screaming in the background, and in this leaked clip, we can actually see people running around. It also sounds like this at the end. Like the camera is almost panning away from the screen, then suddenly cutting to black, which matches this leaked clip perfectly. And then we're going to get into what we already know about the pilot. In the Riggy's history video, Riggy himself explains that in the pilot episode, he turns 18 and moves from his hometown Bluebird into Toonville. And in the leaked clip that Danno showed on Leia's livestream, we see just that. Riggy presumably getting ready to leave his parents' house and move to Toonville with his mom driving him there. He also gets a hallucination of the purple fire. I made a whole video diving into the lore of this leaked clip, so if you're interested, check it out. But yeah, that's what I'm assuming is going to be happening right after the first segment. But I think there's also going to be some scenes in between, because in the History of Riggy video, we see these 4 clips playing right now. And the 2 on the left happen at Riggy's house, so those will probably play around here. But anyways, onto what I think is going to happen next. This is when I think the second leaked clip that I showed today is going to be coming into play. It honestly seems that Riggy's mother just drops him off at where Toonville is, and now Riggy is by himself with some luggage. There's also another leaked clip, but this one's like an actual leak, like it was only intended for members, so I'm not going to be showing it. But thanks to Swoopy, as he made a drawing of the scene, basically Riggy is holding a penguin and then kicks it off into the distance. Like Riggy hates the penguins day one. Anyways, on Danno's monitor, we see this scene right here. This lines up perfectly with a clip that we see on Rumble Pack, specifically the presentation episode. We see this clip where Riggy takes out his skateboard and rides into the main part of town. I think that then leads to what we saw on the monitor with Ralph or Dolph and Ruby. I'm assuming this is the same scene. But yeah, Ralph or Dolph is picking on Riggy, maybe because he's a mixed breed? Similar to how Jack was being picked on in Mid-School Misery, which is a whole other thing. I made a whole lore video on it if you want to check it out. And now we finally get to the Twitter post where we see Riggy in what seems to be a crowd. The tweet also says that if people are worried that too many screenshots of Toon Turf have been released, don't worry, specifically haven't even shown any footage or screenshots from the second half of the episode, and will until release. This lines up with what Danno was saying on the podcast episode, the episode with Dacia, where he says they only showed sporadic areas of the first 5 minutes of the pilot. But yeah, anyways, in this Twitter post in the image, there's a crowd that forms. And what's a reason why crowds form sometimes? Yeah, a celebrity. I think this is when when Riggy first sees Lucky Luckington in real life. And that'll probably happen around here. There's still a bunch of other clips, like this one in the presentation episode where Riggy sees Barry, so Barry's gonna be introduced in the pilot. There's also this clip of Lucky acting. We can actually see that in a clip in the background on the TV, so it's actually like part of a movie. Also, thanks to Swoopy for letting me know about this, but Danno also uploaded a video on Twitter, and in it he shows his monitor, and we see Lucky. It's kind of hard to make out what's going on here. And yeah, there's just a bunch of leaks. But there's also the question of what happens in the second half of the episode. Well, we might be introduced to other main characters like Rosie and Billy the Beaver. Danno actually has said on his Dear Danno channel in this episode right here that Riggy and Rosie actually won't be a couple for like the first 2 seasons. They only become boyfriend and girlfriend like later in season 3 or at the end of season 2, I don't know. And there's also Billy the Beaver, and we know that in the factory scene, Billy the Beaver is Riggy's first kill, albeit by accident. And there's like a lot that has to happen in season 1, so this factory scene has to happen around like the middle, meaning that Billy the Beaver has to be introduced like sooner or later, so probably in the pilot. And also literally today is Riggy's birthday, so there will probably be a short about that. Maybe Danno's gonna surprise Riggy with a present revealing the date of Toon Turf's release? Question mark? Who knows? Subscribe for more. I've got some more theory. Go click. There's one on screen. Do it. Subscribe. YouTube.